It's Saturday, 9:30 a.m. and here we are back for another this week's watches, where we take a look at the latest watches that have just landed at kibblewatches.co.uk. This week we have 12 awesome watches for you, ranging from a amazing gold Moser to a interesting JLC alarm, a Art Deco Girard-Perregaux that you'll probably never see again, a vintage Rado Captain Cook, so one of the original ones, and everything you could possibly imagine in between. I'm excited to get into it, and as always, if you're new here, down in the description there is a link to every single watch shown here today, as well as a timestamp to skip to that specific watch. So let's say you're here just to see the Universal Geneve Polerouter, you can head straight to that one, skip all my rambling, as well as head straight to the website, see prices, details, extra photos, everything you could possibly need is there, as well as the ability to book an appointment to come view it here in Clerkenwell, London, where our office is located. And I want to say a big thank you. It's been absolutely incredible the past few weeks, and there was supposed to be a beautiful, and I'll try and put a photo on screen if I have one, of a Langenson Langermatic in 18 karat white gold, a beautiful, incredible watch, and that one has gone before it could ever make it even to the website, even to the photography stage. So unfortunately it won't be on the website, even under the archive, but here is a photo or two of that incredible watch, and congratulations to the new owner. I know you're absolutely loving it, and it's one I suspect you'll have for a very long time, and if not, it'll end up back with me. So that's the great thing about the business relationship I have with a lot of you out there who are probably watching this. You buy from me and you also sell back to me, so thank you very, very much. And just before we take a look at what's on wrist, I apologize for the red eyes and the sniffles again. I'm battling hay fever, as a lot of you know, and I think a lot of you out there are also battling it too. I'm trying everything, but we're getting there. Slowly but surely things are getting a bit better, and that's why I'm also wearing the glasses, because it's helping my eyes a little bit, and I do have to wear glasses when I'm on the computer, or at least I should. So anyway, what's on wrist? I'm wearing a beautiful Mido. This is a Mido Multi-4 Extra Super Automatic 33.5mm with a grey dial, and this is actually a really early example with a bumper automatic Mido caliber. It's just a really, really wonderful thing. I'm very fortunate to have this in the personal collection, and yes, that does mean it's not coming for sale. My apologies. Francois Bourgel case, again, just a really lovely little thing, and I think this period and this era, 40s, 50s Mido, grossly underappreciated in the market today, so definitely keep an eye out for those. Now let's crack on with what you're here to see, and that is the watches on the table. We're going to start with what is arguably, it's the most expensive watch on the table, but I still think it's probably one of the best values on the table. Now that might sound like a strange thing to say, but the reason being, this is a H.Moser Cie Monard, which is the pre-Endeavour range, in rose gold, 18 karat rose gold, with a 7-day manually wound movement. This is the epitome of what Moser can do beautifully, and the price is under £8,000 for this. That blows me away. So let's take a closer look at this watch. What an incredible watch to start this week off with. As you can see right here, we've got H.Moser Cie Monard, which is the model line that sort of predates the Endeavour, and you can see the similarities between this model in its case and sort of proportions and look to what we now know as the Endeavour. And this is a fantastic example in 18 karat rose gold, beautiful black dial. Very much what we expect from H.Moser, that sort of clean design and look, and those highly polished hands and indices which just catch the light and beg to be seen in different lights. Right there, sort of disappears in some lights, really incredible. The case profile, beautiful, with these sort of slight cutouts in the side of the case, making for a very unique sort of wearing experience, and definitely helps with the size. Sign crown at 3 o'clock. And as we flip it over, the star of the show is right there, as well as the dial and the case and everything else. So what you're looking at right here is a manually wound H.Moser Cie caliber 343.505, and that is a 7-day manually wound movement with a power reserve visible right there. So as we wind the watch, you'll start to see the power reserve increase. Now obviously it takes a while to get to full charge, 7 days, it's a big barrel, so do keep that in mind. You might be winding for a little while, but once you're fully wound, you're going to be set with all your power. Quite incredible and a wonderful thing. We've got it paired on a nice black leather strap which suits the watch beautifully, and it's original 18 karat gold H.Moser Cie signed clasp right there, which again, as you can see, 18 karat gold. This is a reference 343.505.017 and it dates to circa 2012. It's not a reference or model you really see that often because you've got to think of where Moser was 13 years ago. Yes, 2012 was 13 years ago. That's pretty insane. They were nowhere near sort of where they are today in terms of the recognition and the limelight they receive. So the production numbers were just far less in general, making this, again, even more special. It does come as watch only, no box and paperwork, unfortunately, and that is reflected in the outrageous price that you'll see on the website. The value for money here is undeniable. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, comfortably paired on my 7-inch wrist. It fits really nicely. It's on the larger side, obviously being all dial pretty much, but it still wears really, really well and it's got a nice heft to it. So this is 41mm by 47.5mm lug to lug, only 10.5mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs. This is going to look great on a huge variety of straps. But the sort of black straps with the black dial definitely go really well. So go check this one out on the website today. From there over to an impressive beast, but something that wears surprisingly well. That's this JLC Master Compressor Memovox 41mm, reference 146.8.97 with those iconic crowned twist guards. We're going to get into how this works and operates. It's quite simple once you get the hang of it, but let's take a closer look at this one. Now on to the wonderful JLC Master Compressor Memovox. This is the alarm watch with an inner rotating bezel, which is controlled via the crown right here. You've got a very distinct way of telling the alarm time, so it's that sort of semi-transparent disc right there, and we'll talk about functions in a second. The red triangle in that disc is indicating where the alarm is, so nearly 7 o'clock. Date over at 3 o'clock, and your simple 2 hands with a red tip second hands. You can see you've got 2 crowns right here, the compressor style, so a crown at 4 o'clock and a crown at 2 o'clock, and you can see red triangles presented on each. These do twist, so when you turn to the other side, they go white, and white indicates they are now sealed. These are now locked in place, so very, very handy if you are going to be using this properly. That is what you need to do, and turning it the other way allows them to be used again. The bottom crown is to use the functions of the watch itself. So as you use this crown, you can wind, and as you pull out the crown, you will see the seconds hand stops. It's got hacking, and then you can adjust the time as you wish. Now, beating away inside this watch is actually a automatic JLC caliber 918. Now, this is quite a early alarm movement that had been used by JLC for a very long time, and it is pre-quick set, meaning you have to go around manually, and you can do the semi-quick, which is where you go past midnight, where the date changes, and go back to sort of 8-9 p.m. and go forward again. So a semi-quick way of changing the date. So do keep that in mind. So that's the functionality of the crown at 4 o'clock. The crown at 2 o'clock is for the alarm. So again, you can wind the alarm, give it power, and as you pull out the crown, you can then adjust the alarm only one way, and that will show where you want it to be. So we'll go to 4 o'clock, for example, and then we'll go round to 4 o'clock to trigger the alarm. It doesn't distinguish between AM and PM, so do keep that in mind, and winding the alarm is what gives it power. So if you don't wind the alarm will not go off. Now, something that I have to mention with these movements, as they are early alarm movements, if there is 0 power in the alarm, the hammer for the alarm itself will be loose, it won't be engaged, meaning you will hear it sort of clunk around in the back. It's not very annoying, but for some people who are very sensitive to these things, it might sound quite annoying, so do keep that in mind. And the way to get around this is just giving it one gentle turn of power just to engage the hammer, but not enough power it's going to trigger the alarm. You'll get the hang of it after time, but let's go around to 4 o'clock and show you the alarm. So as we go around, here we go, and there you go. I'll stop that. So really great sounding alarm. It goes on for a while, especially if you give it a full wind, and that is the joys of these watches. So this is a reference 146.8.97, and this one dates to April 2004 with its box and paperwork, and comes back from a light and sympathetic polish. You can see it comes on its JLC bracelet, which is brushed through the middle, polished on the outside, and you have a push button clasp which opens up 2 sides like so, and it actually has a small adjustment on the underside. So as you pull it out, you can then empty it out like so, or release it I should say, and you can push it back in. There's one on each side, meaning you can adjust on the fly, and the links are actually spring bars. So when you push in the bar here, this part will move, and then you can do the same on that side, and then you've got a spring bar in the middle holding it together. That's how the links are taken apart, for those of you that don't know. Sine screw down back with the master control gold emblem right there, and all the reference and details as you can see. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Now this is no small watch, but it wears surprisingly well considering how big the watch may appear at first glance. So this is 41mm by 49.5mm lug to lug, 15mm on the thickness, but most of that's on the case back, which sort of hugs into the wrist, really well done, and 21mm on the lugs. So go check this watch out on the website today. Now on to an awesome 44mm Panerai. This is the automatic reference PAM 00104, and this is priced incredibly well because it only is watch only. The reason for that is actually quite a sad one. Unfortunately, the box and papers were lost in a house fire back in the gentleman's home country over in Europe. You know, it goes to show sometimes these things can happen, and it's not always the case of just people are throwing them away or things like that. That also happens, but sometimes it's not the best of stories. But we have the watch, thankfully, that wasn't in the fire, of course, and it's ready to be picked up and enjoyed by someone new. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now on to a Panerai. This is a Panerai Luminor Marina 44mm automatic with that gorgeous black sandwich dial and the date at 3 o'clock with a reverse cyclops. So the cyclops is actually on the underside of the crystal, meaning you have no outside bubble, which for some people is what they prefer. Sub-seconds over at 9 o'clock, and your classic Luminor crown guard here at 3 o'clock, where you lift up this lever, it releases the pressure on the crown, and then you can wind and set the time and dates, which is quick set as you wish. Now, as I mentioned, unfortunately the box and paperwork to this one were lost in a house fire, but the important thing is everyone was safe and the watch wasn't actually there, and this happened many years ago, so just want to make that clear. This is a PAM 00104, and beating away inside is an automatic Panerai caliber OP111 or OP3. You can see all signed case back right there, which is screw down, and this watch dates to circa 2009. It does come with a original Panerai strap and a original Panerai stainless steel buckle right there. This watch has not been polished by us, it's been polished in the past, and we can have it polished on request if you so wish, so just request that. It will come at an extra cost and a delay to shipping, but yeah, just get in contact if you want that done. The quick release, sort of quick release system, the way it works with Panerai, you push that button right there, and with another tool, you then push the strap hole right there, and it pushes the tube out, releases the tension that's holding it via that little locking system. It's the same on both sides, and then you've got the pin that you can use to put a different strap on the watch with 24mm width. So yeah, endless options. Really great watch at a stupidly good price because, again, no box and paperwork and the age, but I don't think you can go wrong with this at all. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimension. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. So you definitely know you're wearing this Panerai, and something I have to mention is Panerais are meant to be big. So this does wear big, but it's meant to. So this is 44mm by 52.5mm lug to lug, 15mm on the thickness, and 24mm on the lug width. So go check out this watch on the website today. Now on to my personal highlight in this week's drop, and it will come as no surprise because this is a favourite of mine. This is the Girard-Perregaux 18 karat pink gold Art Deco onyx battens, hidden dates, automatic. I mean, this is incredible and special, and you probably won't see one again. So yeah, let's take a closer look at this one before I make too many regrets. As I said in the intro, one I've been very excited to finally bring for sale. It's just come back from the watchmakers, having received a service and a good clean. So this is a Girard-Perregaux 18 karat pink gold, or rose gold, however you want to call it, Art Deco square case with those incredible onyx battens and a hidden date at 3 o'clock, which is in one of those indice battens that is onyx in the rest, and at a glance you'd probably well, you'd be forgiven for mistaking it for another onyx batten, which a lot of people have done who have seen this watch. It's not until I've pointed out there's a date that they've realised, oh yes, there's a date hidden away in there. Very cool and nicely done. Simple silver dial. It has got a bit of sort of patina over at the 3 o'clock side of the dial. Simple three-hander, Girard-Perregaux stated. Really amazing texture and finish on the case itself. With those ridges for the indices and these gorgeous lugs that sort of hang off the case on both sides, very sort of short, and again adding to the presence of the watch. As we flip it around, you can see the watch has been opened over the years, so there's some marks here and there, but nothing too drastic. As we flip it over completely, you're presented with a gorgeous Girard-Perregaux emblem right there, case number, a little hallmark in there, which is actually a case maker as well. And this is the number right there is 830000138, and inside is an automatic 39 joule, Gyromatic by Girard-Perregaux. Dates to the 1960s. Comes paired on a very nice black strap with a gold-plated Girard-Perregaux buckle, and a original Girard-Perregaux black strap is included. But obviously it's a bit old now, so I wouldn't recommend wearing it on that too often. Now, one thing I do have to mention with these movements, they are notorious for all having the same thing, where they are very hard to wind. So you can wind them, it takes a fair bit of force, and that's because of the reversing wheels. So the reversing wheels are what allow the rotor to basically wind both ways, and it interferes, or these early generations at least, interfere with the winding of the watch. And without brand new reverses, it's going to feel like this, and this is how almost all of them feel. So what I have to say is, when you pick this watch up, if it's completely dead, no power, give it a good few winds until you get it going. Set the time, and then let the rotor do the rest. The rotor being able to rotate both ways and very free flowing, it will power the watch on your wrist as long as you're moving about. So don't worry about it too much, but that's just one thing I have to mention. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist, a incredible watch on the wrist, and as you can see, it is not small. Whilst the dimensions might make it sound on the smaller side, because of the case shape, it has a real wrist presence and a nice weight to it as well. So 29mm by 39mm lug to lug, only 9.5mm on the thickness, and that's going at the top of that original square cut glass, and you're looking at 17mm on the lugs. This is going to look great on the black, on browns, on suede, on blue, you name it, it's going to look great on it. So go check this one out on the website today. And then onto a gorgeous 1960s Universal Geneve Polerouter Jet. This is the 18 karat gold, obviously with the Micro-Rotor. It has the straight lugs rather than the twisted lugs, so potentially better for someone out there who wants a bit more wrist presence than the traditional Polerouter. But I do also have a more traditional Polerouter Deluxe, also in 18 karat gold, coming to the website soon, so keep an eye out for that, or message me for more details. But in the meantime, let's take a closer look at this beautiful example. Now it's time for a wonderful 18 karat yellow gold Universal Geneve Polerouter Jet. So this Jet model features the straight lugs, as you can see, with a slight chamfer on the sides. Really nice proportion, and an 18 karat gold dial to boot as well, so that's a solid gold dial as well as the case itself. Lovely gold sword hands and a nice finishing on the dial with polish around the outside towards where those battens are for the indices. Real depth and character to it, and not something you see often. So this is a reference 10364-1, and as we flip it around, you can see a signed universal crown at 3 o'clock. Really nice example. And as we flip it over, a screw down case back right there, you can see reference and serial still clearly visible, and beating away inside is an automatic Universal Geneve caliber 215-9, which is their iconic Micro-Rotor movement, and it has been serviced by our watchmaker prior to listing, so ready to be picked up and enjoyed with no worries. Circa 1960s on this one, no box or papers, pretty much as you'd expect, and got it paired on a nice brown strap, which really suits the overall design, and I think only elevates that gold dial. These are beautiful, and they come in at a really great price right now. Obviously, prices on Universal Geneve have crept up over the years, and I suspect that's going to continue until we see a more mainstream release from Universal, because obviously they've been bought recently by Breitling. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes, but either way, you can't take away from their vintage models that are not being produced anymore. Even if they do a re-edition, it will not be the exact same. So go check this one out. Oh, sorry, no, let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. There we go. I almost forgot how I do things. So there it is on my 7-inch wrist. You can see it wears beautifully. 34.5mm by 43mm lug to lug, but because of those straight lugs, it definitely adds to the wrist presence. Only 9mm on the thickness, so incredibly thin on the wrist, and 18mm at the lugs. So go check out this beautiful example on the website today. Now on to a IWC Pilot's Chronograph. This is the Petite Prince Blue Dial 43mm, a classic watch. I've sold a couple of these in the past. They always do very well. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now for the IWC Pilot's Chronograph Petite Prince with the blue dial, really lovely example. Day date over there at 3 o'clock with the 3 register chronograph layouts. Red seconds hand on the sub-seconds to distinguish between the chronograph. Very nicely done and very legible. If you're one of those people who really want a very legible watch, it's hard to beat IWC with their Pilot's range. They are super legible and easy to read at a glance. Very nice stainless steel case with nice polished sides, polished bezel, and you can see a IWC signed screw down crown there with pump pushers at 2 and 4 for the chronograph. As we flip the watch over, you're presented with the Petite Prince edition case back, really nicely done, which is obviously screw down. And this is a reference IW377714, and powering this watch is the automatic IWC caliber 79320. Comes paired on a original IWC brown leather strap, classic pilot strap with the stitching, really well done, and IWC signed steel buckle right there. This is powered, I've already said that, my apologies, is from April 2017 with its box and paperwork ready to be picked up at a great price and enjoyed. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimension. And here we are on my 7-inch wrist. You can see at 43mm, it's definitely on the larger side. You know you're wearing this watch, but it wears surprisingly comfortable despite that. So definitely want to book an appointment, try on for yourself if you are unsure. But it's 43mm by 53mm lug to lug. 14.5mm on the thickness and 21mm at the lugs. So go check this one out on the website today. And from that IWC to one I've never had before. This is actually the Mark 15 Spitfire limited edition, so one of the early references from 2001 in 38mm with those beautiful and iconic hands, and the Spitfire proudly stated on the case back. It comes with its paperwork and sort of inner bit of the box. The rest of the box is unfortunately missing, but let's take a closer look at this one. Now for a IWC Pilot's watch, Mark 15, but this isn't any old Mark 15, which is already a beautiful watch on its own. This is the reference IW3253, which is the standard reference, but -05. And as you can see, it's got Spitfire proudly stated on the dial right there. Very cool, bold, luminescent Arabic numerals and spade hands, or spade hour hand, I should say. Really beautifully done. It's like an upside down love heart right there. Tipped second hand, and as we flip it over, you're presented with a Spitfire on the case back itself. Very nicely done, a limited edition of 1,000 pieces total, and a beautiful tribute to the Spitfire itself. Power in this watch is the automatic IWC caliber 37524, and this one dates to January 2001 with its original inner box with the plaque. No outer box, unfortunately, in the wooden box, so it's just like the inner sleeve bit, basically. See the photos to see what I mean, and the paperwork. Just compared on an IWC black strap with an IWC signed steel buckle, as you can see right there, and the condition is very fair. It's obviously been worn, but yeah, nothing too drastic, and we can have it refinished on request, though I really don't think it requires it. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions, because you've got the classic Mark 15 proportions, but this dial, it certainly makes it wear that little bit different. I'm sure it's in my head, but it feels like it wears a bit different. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Really nice on the wrist, and that dial just draws your eyes inwards, especially with those hands and those numerals. So this is 38mm by 47mm lug to lug, only 10mm on the thickness and 19mm on the lugs. So go check this one out if you're after a Mark 15 but want something slightly different and something you very rarely see. Go check this one out today. Now on to an original 60s Rado Captain Cook automatic 36.5mm. It's been worn, it's been enjoyed, it's lived a life, but then again it's a testament to what these were originally produced for, which is actually diving and being a true tool, and this one was used as such. So let's take a closer look at this one. And now we have a vintage Rado Captain Cook. Yes, not something you see often at all, and you can see that instantly recognizable design with that concaved bezel, with the brass bezel, as you can see, with the aluminium insert, which is obviously scratched and worn and has seen better days, and then that domed plexiglass or acrylic crystal on the inside, and that iconic Captain Cook dial. Now this one thankfully has its original hour hand, as you can see, with that big triangle full of loom. Original second hand, original hour hand, but it has been re-loomed at some point. You've got a date over here at 3 o'clock, which is in red, which again, as it should be. Captain Cook proudly stated. Rado, and then the anchor in the red circle. Now that anchor does still move, which is very good, and you might be like, well, obviously, but I have seen so many vintage Rados where those have come out and people have just glued them in, like the watchmakers. I don't know why they do it. It's on basically a little pin. You just got to fasten it again, but some people just glue it in. But this one still moves as you move around, which is very good and very nice to see. Friction fit brass bezel. Do keep that in mind. An interesting sign crown, and because there's very little known of these watches, I can't actually distinguish what the crown is, whether it's an original Rado crown, a later service crown, or another crown completely, but it definitely looks nice. It's on the smaller side, still very usable. And as we flip it around, you're presented with the Rado signed water sealed case back. These are a twist and lock mechanism, so basically the case back can spin forever, but it sits in where there's a position where it can come out of the case. When it's not in that position, it stays in place. Very sort of finicky to get out, but it's a very reliable, solid system that a few brands have used over the years. This is a reference 343942, and powering this watch is an automatic AS caliber 1700/01. So this predates quickset, meaning you have to go around manually to change the date, and you can do that semi-quick where you go backwards and forwards from 8 PM to about 3 AM and keep going back that way. Got it paired on a nice black 2-stitch strap, which really emphasizes the design. And let's show it on wrist because the dimensions of this are incredible. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. I forgot to say this is a nice high quality thick watch gecko strap. It's going to require some wearing in, but once you've got it worn in, it's going to be super comfortable. So dimensions wise, this is 36.5mm by 42.5mm lug to lug with those really nice straight lugs, making it wear that bit bigger. 11.5mm on the thickness, and that's going to the top of that massively domed crystal. Really, really cool design, and 19mm on the lugs. So go check this watch out on the website today. Now onto a very affordable and attractive 1954 Omega Calatrava, as we're calling it, in 9-carat gold with a Denison case, meaning made here in the UK, with a lovely white dial. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now for an affordable but beautiful 9-carat gold Omega Calatrava, as we've called it due to the design, this predates or is before Seamaster and DeVille and all those kind of things, dating it to circa 1954. So reference 12302. Really nice white dial, sword hands, 12369, triangle battens, and as we take a look at the case, very nice case profile, Omega sign crown at 3 o'clock, and a sort of bubble gold case back right there. Now this is a Denison case, so a case made by Denison here in the UK. They were a famous case maker for many brands, and obviously Omega as well. You will see a few of them around, but you don't often see gold ones too often. Powering this watch is the manually wound Omega caliber 420, a nice reliable movement, and I've paired it on a black ostrich style strap, which I think really emphasizes the design. And again, this is the kind of watch where on this strap or plain glossy black strap, you've got yourself a perfect dress watch, but you pair it on something like a brown suede, and all of a sudden you've got a watch you can comfortably wear with t-shirt and jeans, and it's going to look great. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions because the proportions are brilliant. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As a lot of you know, I wear smaller watches and love smaller watches, so this is right in my wheelhouse at 33mm by 40mm lug to lug. Again, straight lugs, making the case wear that bit bigger. 10mm on the thickness and 18mm on the lugs. So go check this one out on the website today. Now on to a Baltic Aquascaphe Classic Blue Gilt on the Beads of Rice bracelet in 39mm. A fantastic watch to be able to be picked up under £500 pre-owned. I think these are brilliant. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now on to a lovely Baltic. This is the Aquascaphe Classic Blue Gilt on the Beads of Rice bracelet in 39mm. You've got that really nice blue dial with the sort of sandwich loom right there, which has got that faux patina going on. Very nicely done. Simple sword hands with the lollipop seconds and the blue bezel, which looks like an old Bakelite bezel. Very, very attractive indeed. Baltic sign crown right there at 3 o'clock, which is obviously screw down. Beads of Rice bracelet, as I said, which are super comfortable, and it comes with plenty of links to fit a wrist. And as we take a look at the case back, you've got a solid screw down case back with a nice diver display right there. This is powered by an automatic Miyota caliber 9039, which is part of the higher grade Miyota movements of the 9000 series. And this one dates to October 2022 with its box and paperwork ready to be picked up and enjoyed. If you're after a fun diver, you know, pop a colour and something a bit more different, something a bit more left field, something that's definitely going to get you noticed by the watch crowd. You know, if someone recognises your Baltic, they're going to be a watch person. This is the one for you. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist, super comfortable. And great design. The bead of rice is always a nice touch. So this is 39mm by 47mm lug to lug, 13mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs with drilled lug holes to make strap changing super easy. So go check this one out on the website today. Then on to a pretty much unworn and still stickered Brew Metric. This is the automatic limited edition of 500, their first automatic watch, and to celebrate they produced 500 of these, so it's great to have one pretty much unworn. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now on to the Brew Metric automatic. This is the first ever automatic watch they did back in 2023, and it was limited to 500 pieces to sort of commemorate that release. They've obviously done a few more automatics over the years now, and this is the reference RTR026, and it's powered by an automatic Seiko caliber NH35A. It has got its stickers on, so that is the sort of side edges of the sticker, so do keep that in mind when you're looking at the photographs. That sticker will come off, as you can see, and it's perfectly fine underneath. It still has a sticker on the case back as well, and the watch has not really been worn, as you can see. Sticker right there, and you've got a semi-exhibition case back showcasing the balance spinning away, which is very nice to see, and the Brew details right there. The logo of Brew is unsurprisingly a coffee bean, and it's a very nice logo which is present on the crown as well, which you can obviously use to wind and set the watch. Nice design overall, very sort of 70s in its theme with this sort of brick bracelet. I'm a big fan of this kind of design and feel, so yeah, really great watch. Circa 2023 with its box and paperwork. It does come with a screw push pin tool as well to change the links yourself, but let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Wears really well, definitely reminds me of my sort of crazy 70s watches I absolutely love. 36mm by 42mm lug to lug, 11.5mm on the thickness and 19mm at the lugs, so go check this watch out on the website today. And last but by no means least, the funkiest watch arguably potentially on the table, depending on who you ask. This is the Radcliffe Le Dome or Le Dome Blue Guilloche dial automatic 40mm, limited to 1,000 pieces, and it has the slightly upgraded Guilloche rotor on the case back as well, and it comes with this extra strap, so a really great pickup at a really good price. So let's take a closer look at this one. On to a watch. I can only apologize for the photography and videoing because it has one of the most domed crystals I think I've ever seen on a watch and it just reflects all of the lights, but actually on the wrist it's perfectly legible, and that's coming from the intense lights we use for photography and filming. So this is the Radcliffe Le Dome Blue with that really awesome Guilloche dial. You've got a cage over the balance right there, so you can actually see the balance itself. And you will, obviously, if you know your watches, you will see this and instantly know this is inspired by MB&F. And it is really, really great, especially for the money. So you've got 2 discs right there. One is your hours, which is the top one right there, and one is your minutes. So right now, if I can get the angle so you're not getting that glare, it is showing it is 20 past 6, basically. So as we pull out the crown and I move the correct way, it's now 6:30, and it is now 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and so on. I think you get the idea. That's how you tell the time. Very, very cool and interesting. So the minute and hours are stated with an M and a H in a triangle pointing at the area you need to be paying attention to, and those domes are mental. This is one of those watches you can just sort of play around with. It's like a fun toy almost. Nice, and I mean that in a positive way, not a negative way. It feels very robust. Nice steel case with brushing and polishing. And as you flip it over, you're presented with an exhibition case back with a custom rotor, which has got that nice guilloche finish. So this is a limited edition of 1000, and inside is an automatic modified Seiko caliber NH38. And this one's from circa 2023 with its box and paperwork, as well as its original strap, but this blue strap that's also on it, which really suits the design. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go. On my 7-inch wrist, it wears very nicely, obviously on the thicker side due to that domed crystal. But again, it's all part of the parcel of a watch like this at 40mm by 48mm lug to lug, 16mm on the thickness, which isn't as thick as I think a lot of people would be expecting, but it is obviously on the thicker side, and 20mm on the lugs. So go check out this awesome funky watch on the website today. So there you have it, everyone. 12 watches in this week's drop. I look forward to hearing what's your favorite down in the comment section. As always, do let me know. I think for me, it's got to be the Girard-Perregaux, and close second is this Moser, but I absolutely love every watch on the table. Obviously, the Universal is also beautiful. The Rado is really cool. The Omegas are great. The Panerai is a classic, and the JLC is a surprising one that I actually really like on wrist, although it is a beast. Not my usual thing, but I can definitely see the appeal, and the IWCs are also great. Everything's great. So, as always, let me know down in the comments what's your favorite, and next week I'm excited to bring you another varied drop, including, all being well, another Langer in that drop if it doesn't sell before then, and also a Remain Jerome. Yes, the first Remain Jerome I've ever had, and it's the Space Invaders. So I look forward to showing you that. That's going to be a highlight for sure. So we'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.